right, I think we're going to carry on because we've got a lot to cover, and we'll do the very best we can here. Let's see if I'm doing this right. I think I am. Tell me what you see on the screen, everybody.
Well,
The Beatles.
Okay, good deal. All right. How about now? What do you see?
Creek's Edge.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the website and why the change and what was the change, and give you kind of an insight. And the old website had a lot of good information on it, but it was clear to me as an outsider looking in that it was selling the neighborhood, and its primary focus was promoting the developer and the property management company. And so as we overhauled, and that platform, by the way, that website was built on is going away as of this fall. So we had to do something. And so we switched to a different platform, same vendor, that had a lot more robust features. And so we wanted to keep the content, the important content on the old site, but make it a little more user-friendly and a little more interactive. So that was our charge. In general, we want this to be a better resource for the people that live here, and it's not a sales tool. I mean, it probably could be used that way, but that's not what the board wants. So hopefully we've accomplished that. I guess you guys will tell me. Another big bone of contention, not a bone of contention, but of consideration, was to make this site private, completely private, with login and that sort of thing. Well, first of all, it's an all-volunteer organization. We don't have an IT department, so when someone loses their or forgets their login, who are they going to call? And so the general information that's on here for our residents is not top secret information. It's pretty much easily available. So the feeling was to make it more user-friendly versus less user-friendly with logins and passwords. We all know how frustrating that can be. Now, with that said, see this little guy up in the corner? This is a login. And the reason we have a login, the only reason, is because we're going to have and do have a private page, and eventually there will be more private pages. And the private pages is only people that have credentials, meaning login and password, can get to those pages. And I'll address that in just a minute. So the idea behind the navigation on this was to make it simple and easy to read. And I'm trusting we've done that. This is our home page, and on the home page, there's just basic information. And you can see right here, right off the bat, it's to our residents. We said basically the people first, and that's what this is about. Right off the bat, there's a contact us, as it would be with almost any website. So there are lots of places through here to hit a button that's pretty visible, to send an email, to ask a question, or to make a comment, or report news in the neighborhood. Down near the bottom of the home page are reviews, and I'm happy to say we're getting some really decent reviews. And if you want to leave a review, once you've gone to the site, you just click this button here. A form comes up, you leave the review gets posted to the website, and then this is, you can see as the more reviews are received, it just kind of toggles one right after another. Also at the bottom of all these pages, so that you don't have to go back up here, if you want to just jump around, you can do that, because the menu bar is also at the bottom. So that's the home page in a nutshell. Oops, sorry.
Nice.
We can't have any website without saying about us. And when we say about us, it's not about the developer or the property management company, it's about our neighborhood. So the idea behind it is to basically introduce the world or newcomers to Creeks Edge, what this neighborhood is about. We've got some verbiage here that generally explains what this neighborhood is about, when it was founded. And we can't talk about the neighborhood without showing the people. So I've got an image of some of my neighbors here. These any of these photos can change anytime. So the neighborhood is about the people and it's about the location. And we all bought here primarily because of the convenient location. So we're showing that graphic there. Okay. If someone wants a property map, they can click here and page not found. Okay. The reason that's not there is because the map was changed. I apologize for that. We'll fix it. But a neighborhood map pops up there. So that's really the About Us section. And then also at the bottom is an About Us video. Now, if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to do it. It truly is about Creeks Edge. You get the idea. All of those, this whole video was produced with just as many homemade pictures. And I know that it's not a professionally produced video, but at least it gives a newcomer or someone thinking about moving here a little more. And, you know, without video on websites, you don't really have much of a website. So that's our first attempt. We can do lots of other things, especially if I can come up with higher quality film or actual stills, but it gives you the idea.
Looks pretty professional to me.
It's kind of a ham and egger, but it's a placeholder for now.
Yeah.
Also, we talk about a photo gallery at the bottom of this page so that you can click here. And as we are able to come up, and here's another video, and I won't play it, but if you're interested, you go in there, and it's about the function we had Hot Summer Nights last month. And it just kind of recaps what happened, a very short 2-minute video. Down here is our actual gallery where we have pictures of the neighborhood that you can scroll through. Many of these I took myself, and again, they're not high quality professional photos, but as we gather them, I think it's important to post photos that we all that come from us. So that's what and there's lots of pictures on here. I mean, some of our functions have been listed here. Like this one, the holiday party is on here along with highlighted photos. And these were really low res, so the quality of them is only so good, but we fixed them as best we could and posted them. Here's a Halloween thing. So as we have events, we hope to capture them and hope to get more people involved with taking photographs. And I think that certainly helps a lot. So that's the About page. Go over to the calendar of events. This, I think, will be important to everyone. Now, the feed for this calendar is coming from Anne's Google Calendar. Anne is the calendar czar. Anne, you want to weigh in on how the calendar works? Are you still with us?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I update the calendar as needed with events as they happen. For things that happen on a regular basis, like board meetings and committee meetings, I try to have about 6 months worth there on the calendar. So when I go in to create an event, based on what Dan has told me, it will then appear on this list.
Yep.
So if you're looking at where he's scrolling, you can see the events. For example, I have a question, Dan. We're working on getting the book club to provide us with a list of their books by the month so that people can look at it. Would that information appear here?
Yeah, it could. It's whatever you put in your calendar on your Google Calendar. That it's just an image of what you have. It really uploads.
So like for August 25th, book club at the clubhouse, if I knew the name of the book and I had entered it into that heading on the calendar, it would show up here.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes. I don't know that it truncates or that there's a maximum. I don't know that. I don't think so.
Well, I'll just continue to enter things as I get them, especially those like book club that would help residents, especially new people, kind of get involved.
That makes sense. If you go down to the bottom and say, all right, I don't see what I'm looking for on the calendar, you can, again, click this button, fill out a form, and that goes to Anne. And it says, hey, I don't see the such and such on the calendar. What's up with that? So there's a way to interact with the calendar that we didn't really have much before. So, and there's a lot of stuff on this calendar. So I feel like it's a strong point for the website to have this pretty interactive type venue for our calendar of events. Okay, news. Now, news breaks down in 3 sections. The first one's called announcements, or basically neighborhood news. This is also on the back side of this. You don't see it, but this is the website's blog. I'm calling it news because that's more how we're using it versus bloggers who talk back and forth. This is more in terms of announcements. And so, as you could see, the reminder for today's webinar was on here. And these type of things just stay here. And slowly they'll drop off. You can see the mulch party. I stuck that in there, the hot summer nights. So as events come up and pertinent news about the neighborhood, it'll go out in this blog format. Now, I want to show you the difference because there's a couple of different things here. Let's see if I can pull this up. Yeah. So here's what you got yesterday, reminding you about today. It's a simple, quick email. It's kind of a muted background, and that's a direct reflection of this. It's the exact same thing. In fact, it never is going to give you the whole thing. It makes you click read more and takes you back to this area of the website. So that's basically a news announcement. The other thing that we do is called an email blast. Now, we're used to getting email blasts from Anne, and I don't know that that'll stop, but if we've got something that we want to publicize to the whole neighborhood, we can do all kinds of things with that now. We can put links in it, we can add video, we can add photos. This is the one that announced the website launch August 1st. So this is a lot more robust and a lot more flexible in terms of making a blast to the neighborhood. They both do the same thing. The difference is with this, it doesn't reside on the website as such, like the regular news snippets would be. Okay, so again, if it's something like today's webinar, there'd probably be a follow-up to this announcement. So we can do both. We can do something that's a communication that's more formalized or pretty basic.
How do you get something on this page? Do we submit it to you?
Yeah, if you go
Okay.
down to the bottom here, you'll see have news to share, drop us a line, and in there a pop-up form comes in and you fill out
Okay.
what it is,
All right.
who, what, where, when, why, etc. And then we have to review it,
Yeah,
and if we have a question about it, come back to you. Once we got all that nailed down, then we post it.
good deal. Thank you.
Okay, sure.
Mhm.
So that's the first part of news. Another part of this is what you're used to seeing, the newsletter. But the newsletter will be the most current one. There will not be, I don't envision an archive of newsletters. Number one, I don't think we want to use up our space with that. And if you have a question about the newsletter, you can use any of the contact things, and an archive copy can be sent to you. But the most current newsletter will be listed on the website. Any reaction to that? Does anybody have a strong feeling about there should be archived newsletter going back a year or whatever?
I think the current one's fine.
Okay. All right. The other part of the news section is classifieds. Now you may have seen some emails about that. And we just basically said, wouldn't it be a nice place to have like a bulletin board for buying and selling or giving away things that, our kids don't want our stuff,
Yeah.
in a nutshell. So here are some things that are listed. And basically, again, you want to list something, you fill out a form down at the bottom. It comes in, send me, I can post one picture and almost as much text as you want to add, making sure to include a phone number and an email address. And pretty much it. I understand this item here, Ann, is already sold, right? I think Pat told me that this Bose.
Yes,
system is already
it
sold.
was our first sale.
So that's really it. You've got announcements, which is basically news, the newsletter, and classifieds, and that's it on the news page.
So
Okay.
if you put something on classifieds and when it's sold, do we need to
It'll come
send
off.
a note in?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah. And I'll take it off.
Dan, I have a question. This is
Sure.
Lee.
Hey, Lee.
This is a public site. So what is to prevent anybody in the city posting something here? Do we care or?
No. When you send in the form,
Yeah.
you haven't posted anything. You've requested a post. I have to actually post it. And if you're from outside the neighborhood, it won't get posted.
Okay.
We absolutely don't want that. This is just for Creeks Edge residents.
Right, but it doesn't prevent any of the general public from seeing this.
No, it's an
Okay.
open website. They could see it. I mean, the chances are pretty good that we have our captive audience here.
Yes.
It's possible the rest of the world could care less. So that's our classifieds page. And I think that I hope that it'll be fun. It'll be, just kind of something that we get used to saying, okay, have you checked the classifieds? It could be something given away, hey, I'm not going to ride my bike anymore. Does somebody want my bike? At the neighborhood where I did this for in Florida, we even had some that was a loan. I'll loan out my bikes because we don't use them anymore, kind of thing. So that's really it for news. And in the clubhouse section, it's just what it's about. It's our resources, our main resources in the neighborhood. So again, when we talk about the clubhouse, we're talking about what about the clubhouse? Well, one of the things we want to know about right away is, can I rent the clubhouse or can I use the clubhouse? How do I do that? And so we have a way of doing that. Number one, is it available when I want? If you click this, you go back to the community calendar that we were just on. Okay. It tells you here that there's a fee involved. It's not free. And then if you want to know, well, what am I getting into? You can click this button and it goes to the actual document that you're going to sign and submit when you want to rent the clubhouse. You can download the document, fill it out, sign it, return it, that sort of thing. So that's literally about the clubhouse. You can also request a reservation just by simply filling out this form. And since Ann is the gatekeeper for the clubhouse, she can easily kind of look at, okay, what kind of function in it, you know, when's the dates and that sort of thing, and get back to somebody pretty simply without going through all the stuff of executing agreement only to find out that it's not available. So there's a couple of ways to do this. So that's the clubhouse. And then also on the clubhouse section is the pool. And in the pool, why would we put that in there? Well, when people are new here, yeah, let's help know. Pretty neat graphic. Huh? And so that begs you to scroll down to see what's next. And so here are the pool rules. You don't have to open up a form. You don't have to download anything. Here they are. What are the hours of operation? In other words, what do I need to know? The 4-digit gate code is required in the pool. Well, you know, if you're a resident here, you know what that is, but we're not going to publicize it here. You know, we talk a little bit about the defibrillator, and you can click here for instructions, and it takes you right to, oh, page not found. It's a broken link. It takes you to the defibrillator. And there's a couple of videos there. The grill, how to use the grill, how to clean the grill, and that sort of thing. I'll fix this. So that's the pool in a nutshell. What else about it? Here's the AED page, or it should come up unless it's broken. Yeah, that's going on. Something's going on with that page. But I've got a whole page on the AED. You know, where is it? There's a photograph of it, and then instructions on how to use it and that sort of thing. Actually, videos on how to use it. So I'll figure out why that's not working. So that's the little free library is the newest edition. Hopefully this will come up. There we go. What's it about? How do you do it? How do you use it? And who's in charge? Now, the More tab has got a lot under it because there's a lot of resources that we can use, okay? First of all, who's on our board? How do I get in touch with them? Well, we've got them listed here. We've got the committees here. And who's in charge and who's on the committees. Now, I do not currently have these hot linked to emails because the board decided they didn't want just anybody to be, you know, if going to your point that the whole world can get to this, they don't want to get emails from the whole world. Besides, this information is in the directory, but we listed them. Now, we do have a contact us for each committee here. The committee's explained what each committee does, and if I click this button, then I'm going to have an email pop up to say, hey, I have a question about.
Very nice.
So those are the committees, and if I don't see what I want, I can always just submit a general form and say, hey, I have a question about a committee. The document library is probably the most storage intense of our whole website because there are quite a number of documents. And that's why it's taken a while to load this morning. For whatever reason, Comcast is not as quick as they used to be. What's going on here, boys and girls? There we go. The minutes of the meetings for the board meeting, it's right up front. If you want to know, here are the latest. Okay. Again, I don't know that they'll be on here in perpetuity. If you have a question about one, you can request it. I don't know that they'll be on there forever, but certainly the latest ones. And then the documents and forms section is in alphabetical order. from architectural guidelines to the articles of incorporation and the like. All of these things are forms that from once in a while you may have a need to use. And there they are. And all of this came directly from the old website. Some of them were updated. So we basically have the board meeting minutes, documents and forms, and then request a residence directory. Now here, you don't have to log in. You can just simply click this button, fill out the form, and you can get a directory. It'll go to, I forget now who this is going to. It's going to you, Ann. And she recognizes the name, certainly no problem. And you'll get a return email with a copy of the most current directory. So there's a way to do it without having to log in. If you see a rules violation in the neighborhood, here's a way to do it. Simple, fill out the forms, nothing to download. Just fill out the form and send it. Dues. What about dues? Well, we can pay by check, pay online, or an automatic draft. And these links take you to where you can do that. How much do I pay? I don't know. I got to phone this number to find out for sure, right? That's true. Okay. There were a few FAQs, frequently asked questions on the previous website. We've added some. You know, who is our HOA? And it lists the answers here. Who's the management company listed here in the contact information and the like. Now, this can grow as long as we want it to grow. So if you see something that you'd like to add to the FAQs, it's easy enough to do. Home services is one that I hope will grow because it helps us all know who we could call for any type of home services. The biggest one is the maintenance request, where you're having to make a request to community partners or to the board via community partners about something wrong with your trees, your sidewalk, your whatever, your roof. So that's the first thing in this section. The second thing is the public services, and that's just good to know information, especially for somebody new here. The snow removal policy, and here it is. Utilities, again, for new folks. Now, contractors is one that you could use, and we certainly welcome people referring contractors that they've had a good experience with. In fact, the ones on here have only been recommended and will only be recommended by Creeks Edge residents. We would not just put anybody on here. And it can grow. This section can grow a lot. But there weren't that many on the previous one. It's easy to do. If you do want to know about property management or the developer or the builder, here's a way to do it. But you know, they get a page, but they don't get lots of real estate on the website like they did before, which is really no point in it at this point. Again, you find out more button and it takes you to their websites. And this is the property map I talked about earlier, where that link was broken previously, but it basically gives you a bird's eye view of the neighborhood. That would have been helpful for me when I was considering buying in here. And then the resident directory. If I had logged in previously, if I sign out and I go back to here and I say resident directory, see, it's asking me for a sign in. Now, that said, a couple of weeks ago, you would have received, let's see if I can pull it up. I had it here. Where is it? Oh. I had it pulled up. You would have received an email that said, private pages are coming. If you want to have access to private pages, click here and create your login and password, which is no more than the email that appears on the directory, and you make up a password, whatever you like. you know. And so once you do that, then it will allow you to sign in. So, you know, I have one. So now it opened up, and now I could download the directory. And sure enough, here it is. So this would be a quick way for you to get the directory without, just do it on your own. Now, as we go on, there could be other private pages, things that may be sensitive information the board does not want to make public, but you as a resident need access to. So I like the idea that we have the ability to have something that's login protected. Gallery, I've already showed you that page of the photographs, and there's lots of photographs and can be photographs and videos. I would encourage everybody to submit them. I mean, you may not think it's a great photo, but it may tell a story. So don't be bashful about submitting a photo. The contact us page is a generic thing, and you've seen over and over and over throughout the pages, there's always some contact us. This is just a general one.
So Dan, I have another question.
Yeah.
The documents under more,
Yes.
why are those protected? Why should the world be able to see them?
Well, I asked the question to the board, how important was it to protect them? And the board basically said it was more important to have quick access to them than to protect them. And it apparently wasn't hard to get them anyway. Ann, you want to address that?
Lee, what are you concerned about in particular?
I'm just sort of like in principle, these are, you know, private to our HOA. Why should somebody in Petersburg be able to find them and read them and see what we're doing? You know, it's like anything else. I mean, people are used to having accounts and signing in for all sorts of things. I'm not sure why that's such a barrier, you know, just putting all these things under private.
You know, we were particular about maintaining privacy regarding our directory because we feel like that is the most personal information. Someone who's buying a home here in the community, and I certainly did this. Well, if you Google this community, this website's going to come up. They may be interested in how well run the HOA is. They may be interested in how we conduct our meetings. There's nothing that is private here. We do not post our monthly financial reports. And at this point in the game, I think we want to do all we can to let people know that we operate this place pretty darn well. A lot of times, you know, when I read things about people who live in HOAs, there's a lot of complaining and about how poorly they're run and a lack of communication. And I think our goal here was to give a broader view of what it looks like here. And if you want to move beyond the social events and the pictures and really want to understand the nuts and bolts of how the neighborhood is managed, I think you're going to want to look at minutes or how easy it is to put in a maintenance report or any of those kind of things.
Okay.
The good
I'll
news.
say one more thing. In particular, our rules. A lot of people get a disclosure package when they have made an offer on a house that's been accepted. Most people don't read all of this in that package. They really should read our guidelines, our declaration, and our rules. It's much easier to access those individual documents here, and they're public. So I think it's all about trying to be
transparent.
As transparent and as formative as we can be, while at the same time protecting anything that we feel is sensitive.
There's one thing that's different with this site from the previous site. The previous site was not a secure site. See up here where it says HTTPS, the other one just had HTTP. So a secure site basically stops people from people that are trying to just gather information. You know, it puts a stop to that because it knows. I mean, the Google and search engines all recognize when that's going on. So this was a big step for this website to basically allow it to become a secure site. The other thing that we had to your point about the outside world, this site is now connected to something called Google Analytics. And Google Analytics will allow us, allowed me to report to the board, this who's using the site. These are the pages that are being logged into. And if, you know, it's a trend that someone's logging into these pages that don't belong here, we'll know it.
Okay,
So that's kind of cool that we didn't have before. So I hope that addresses your concern.
thank you.
Another thing about this, let me reload the site for a minute and show you something you needn't be alarmed about, but sometimes people get alarmed about it. Let me close this down. And reload it. Well, it didn't do it, but you're going to see it didn't do it because I've been in here several times today. Let me try a different search engine. Because, oh, there it is. See where it popped up and says this website uses cookies?
Yeah.
Now, as a user of the internet, it's annoying to me to see that. And I debated about whether to do it or not, because you can enable cookies. Now, what does that do for us? It allows us to do what I just said, to analyze granularly who's using this website, where are they going, how long are they staying on the page, you know, that kind of thing, so that we can detect trends. So the internet police, so to speak, Google and other search engines require that you tell whoever's coming on this site, hey, we're tracking who's on the site. Now, if you decline it, you can still go to the site. If you hit decline, you can still do what you need to do. The site's just not tracking you or what pages you're on and that sort of thing. And it's like those legal forms. If you want to see something, people usually scroll to the bottom, hit accept, and go on, right? So I just want you to know it's a purpose for this cookies thing. I know it's annoying. And if the board decides they don't want it, we can always turn it off. But for now, it's allowing us to get information about the usage of the website. So with that said, what did I miss? Did I cover most everything? Questions, anybody? Covered it that good, huh?
No, I think this is really terrific. This is wonderful.
Well, it's a resource
I
I
think
hope
you're-
people use. I hope everybody uses it, or at least
We
tries.
owe Dan so much thanks for the time that he's put into this thing. I couldn't have done it. I don't know anyone else here who could have done it. If you can do it, we'd like to know who you are so that you can step up to be his assistant. But he's been working on this for months, and had he not been willing to donate his time and effort, we would still have that old website, because there's no way we could afford to do what he has done. And our goal here is he has said, and I have said, is to create an interactive, user-friendly place for our residents to get information, a place for people who are interested in becoming residents to take a peek at life here. And so, you know, back to a whole login thing, if you had to log in to look at everything and you kept forgetting your password, and every time you wanted to come in, you would have to reset the password. I think eventually you would just quit trying because it would be annoying. So we have weighed that part out over trying to make it easy. If we have a problem with it and Dan detects that we have some trends that we're uncomfortable with, we'll certainly revisit that. But right now, we want everybody to know about this place. I think the pictures really tell the story. Dan made that video. We tried to see if we could get some drone footage of the drone footage, okay, of the community from our builder. He did not have any, and what Dan did is fantastic. So I hope you'll encourage your neighbors to log in and take a look. I hope you'll encourage them to use it to get information they need. I'm always going to respond to the emails that I get asking about information or where to go for what. But after a while, I think you're going to find this is so quick and easy and much better organized than what we had before. I've lived here 6 years and used the website. Every time I logged on, I had to think about where I needed to go to get the maintenance request or what ARC form or whatever I needed. And that's so unnecessary.
Well, I appreciate everybody's time this morning. I know everybody's busy, but you know, if you someone asks you about it, again, this is being recorded. It'll be posted on the website so that people can view it at their leisure.
Thanks very much.
Thank you,
All right,
Dan.
guys.
Thanks to
All right.
all of
Thank
you for joining in.
See you
Thank you,
guys.
Dan. Good job.
Bye.
Good job.
Bye-bye.
Bye.